Are you looking to buy a house without the services of a realtor? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about right now. Hi everybody, my name is Ty Eden. I'm a realtor with Exit Realty Redefined in Wheaton, Illinois. And I'm going to talk about 5 points that you need to consider if you're going to go about trying to purchase a home on your own without the services of a realtor. Now, anywhere from 1 to 2 out of every 10 homes are sold without the services of a realtor. And that's true on either the buy side and or the sell side, and sometimes on both sides. However, if you're looking to buy a home from a for sale by owner, be careful in the transaction that they don't take advantage of you. You don't know if they know something more than you do. Then again, you might be smart and know something more than they don't know. But you have to be careful of what you don't know, you don't know. And for the seller, the same stands true. They don't know what they don't know. Whether you're buying a home from a realtor or you're buying a home from a for sale by owner, or what's commonly known as a FSBO, make sure you're not overpaying. If the home doesn't appraise out with the appraiser when you've made the offer and you've made your down payment or put escrow money in, then you're responsible for any shortage that the lender is not going to lend against the house. Zestimates and some of these other common online estimates of what homes may be worth are great, but when it comes down to again, what the appraiser is going to give you the value of the home for, you better know what the value is when you put that offer in. You don't want to pay too much for a home, and you also have to take in consideration the condition that the home is in as well. Find out what comparable homes are sold for in the area. You want to make sure that you're not basing your offer off of asking price, but actual closed price. You may have to go to county records where the certificates are filed for the closings to find out what the home's actually sold for, or there might be some publications in the newspaper that you can seek out to research that information as well. Or your friendly realtor can very easily look that up on the MLS. Make sure on your offer that you build contingencies into your offer, because if something doesn't work out through your investigation process, you want to make sure that the escrow money that you've put down with your offer is not subject to you losing. Oftentimes you want to make sure that that's a hefty sum of money, so that way you have the seller's attention. But you also want those contingencies in the contract, so if something doesn't quite work out with your offer, or with the house more importantly, that you don't lose that escrow money, you can get that money back. Get a home inspection. That could be one of the most important points to the whole process of investigating to buy a house. Don't go from some arbitrary list. See if you can get a reference. Call a friend, do some networking. There's a lot of home inspectors out there, but you want to make sure that you get a good one. A real estate attorney. You want to make sure that you hire a real estate attorney, not an attorney that's a general practitioner. You want an attorney that specializes in real estate, and that is his main drive. They're not that expensive. To take it all the way from beginning to closing is anywhere from $200 to $500. But you want that attorney in your court, so that way they can help decipher some of the legal information for you, so that way you understand all the nuances of the contract you're entering into. Title insurance. You want to make sure that either the seller's paying for or you're paying for title insurance. This makes sure that once the transaction is closed and you've actually, or you think you've actually bought the house, that the title to the property clears without any encumbrances. That means liens, other creditors that may have placed liens or encumbrances, whatever the case may be, against the property. You don't want to find out after you've given up your good hard-earned money that there's something that the prior owner didn't pay and some creditor is sitting there waiting with his hand open looking for his payment. Now, buying real estate isn't always easy. That's why there are real estate agents involved and employed. You want to be careful about a lot of points in the process of buying a house. So I'm just going to point out the disadvantages of not having a real estate agent represent you. Without a real estate agent, you are left as the buyer of negotiating for that house yourself. And when you get emotionally attached to a home, emotions are going to end up interfering with what your logic is going to be as far as negotiating on the house. That's where it's always nice to have a realtor in place, because they're looking at it from more of a disinterested third party, but they represent you, and they may have already done hundreds of transactions, so they already know what the certain angles are going to be based on trying to negotiate the best price for you on that house that you're interested in buying. You don't want to negotiate from emotion. Unless you've actually grown up in the neighborhood that you're interested in a certain home that's located in, your real estate agent or a real estate agent is going to have more working knowledge of that neighborhood. They can give you all the facts and insights to that neighborhood. So they may steer you away from a neighborhood because of their personal knowledge, or steer you towards a neighborhood because of their personal knowledge. And they're going to do that based on what your wants, wills, and wishes and your family or your personal situation may be. There are something called seller disclosures. Without realtor representation, you're not going to know what all the seller disclosures might or might not be. They may give you some of them, and then if you're deficient, now you're having to go back to your attorney, and he may think that some of the seller disclosures they didn't want to give up, or you negotiated away, unless you've got a real strong conversation and communication channel with your attorney. So a realtor can smoke out those seller disclosures up front in the original offer process of possibly purchasing a property. Without a real estate agent, you may end up having to pay all the closing costs. In different areas of the country, but more here in DuPage County, the seller picks up a majority of the costs and the buyer picks up some costs. If you're an uneducated buyer, you're not going to know what your portion of closing costs may be. A seller may end up trying to push most of those closing costs on you, because they're trying to save money by not hiring a realtor to represent them in the first place. Why not get you, the uneducated buyer, to try and pick up most of those seller costs? Real estate contracts have gotten more and more complicated over the years, and without a realtor representation, you're going to be left trying to interpret those contracts. Now, sure, you can go to your attorney. He's not maybe going to just charge you $200 to $500 to interpret those contracts for you. So you're going to be left to have to interpret those. It's a lot of gobbledygook in there, a lot of confusing statements. You may not know what applies and doesn't apply just by simply reading through it, unless you're an experienced real estate buyer. Without realtor representation, the most important part is a mortgage. You've got to borrow money to buy this house, or at least most people do. Unless you've got a mortgage lender in your back pocket, you're left to try and shop mortgage lenders. You don't know what's a good rate, you don't know what are good terms. More often than not, with realtor representation, he's going to have a variety of lenders that he's already vetted or she's already vetted, that they know are good lenders. They'll take you through the proper process, and you're going to get the best rate that you can qualify for that transaction. So you have to be careful and beware of what mortgage lender you get involved with if you're working on your own. Inspections. You may not know the different inspections that may be required in the process of purchasing a property. There could be a sewer inspection. There might be signs of a wet basement that you wouldn't know how to negotiate without the assistance of a realtor, or a realtor noticing that the basement has been wet and what direction that they may push you in. That could be a negotiating advantage to you. As part of the overall inspection, you're going to be left to walking through the home on your own. If without a realtor representation with you, you could always ask the seller's realtor to assist you, but they're obligated to represent the seller, not you. So they're not going to disclose things. They're going to leave it up to you to discover. Without a realtor representation representing you as the buyer, it's a buyer beware, buyer risk situation. So you want to make sure that you've got, if you can and you're willing, to work with a realtor. Now, a lot of new buyers don't really understand that the realtor cost, unless you're dealing with a for sale by owner, the realtor cost on the buyer side is actually picked up by the seller. When the seller signs a contract with their seller's realtor, there's enough of a fee in there that takes care of the realtor's brokerage, the buyer's brokerage, and the buyer's realtor. So technically there shouldn't be any money out of your pocket. I hope you found this segment to be beneficial. Subscribe down here in the subscribe button. We'll have future videos coming out in the future. And with that, I want to thank you for your time and good house hunting.